Hi, it's Linda Fox. I'm in the PhocusWire studio and I'm with Noam Shapira and he is with Setoo, co-chief executive?
Co-CEO, yep.
Co-CEO. So thanks for joining us. So this idea of people, not buying insurance because basically it's broken, it doesn't provide them with what they want. Is that kind of proven? Have you got sort of facts to back that up? Or the reason I'm asking is I often wonder if it's because it's just not top of mind.
Yep. I think it's not necessarily top of mind, that's true. But the question is not about if it's top of mind, it's about do consumers have concerns? And when we talked with consumers, and we've done quite a thorough research also in EU and in the US, we realized that consumers always have some kind of a concern. So the question is not if they have a concern, or rather, what can we provide them for that? And the question is, are we able to identify the concern, what is the most relevant concern, and offer them the best type of product for them? So the question is, it's not on top of their mind, but they do have these concerns in their back. And when they are confronted with that, they do feel the need for such a product. And this does help them.
Is that sort of slightly playing on their kind of concerns, do you think?
Not necessarily. Like the example I've showed in the pitch that I've just made. When a consumer is traveling for a vacation in a sunny resort, and he is concerned about rain, he might not think about insurance, he might not think about protection, but when he's offered, it actually gives him a relief of the fact that he might have a hard time, but somebody will help him in this hard time. And that's quite useful and quite powerful with the consumers.
Okay. So, I noticed that you are now, there are more and more startups in this space in terms of, kind of remodeling travel insurance. And I wondered if, the big guys out there will be, obviously watching you, and that ultimately, do you think, you'll all be sort of snapped up and become part of the global insurance industry?
Yeah. So I don't know. I do know that what we see the players where we are competing, where we're trying to push ourselves. We know that they have a strong position in this market. We know that they are protecting it quite well. We know, however, that like many good other companies, they are a bit slower than what startups are able to do, both in terms of process and both in terms of IT. And our ability basically to build new types of products, be very agile, correspond to real-time reactions of consumer is actually quite powerful. I think many times we don't see them as actually competitions, but actually competition.
Co-opetition.
Co-opetition,
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
The fact that you are able to co-op. So for example, we are working with AXA. We don't see them as competition. We enhance their offering. We allow them to build more products. And where we go with them, basically the consumer is getting much more range. And what we are able to do is help basically build more interesting combinations of products and more fit product to the consumers. So my guess is that we might compete with some of the insurance companies, but some of them will see us as potential partners and allow us to build new type of products together with them.
Because ultimately, are you relying on them for the actual insurance product anyway?
Exactly. So basically the way that we operate exactly that, we are not an insurance company, we are an insurance broker, which basically means that we don't have a balance sheet. The balance sheet is given by the insurance company, the ones that we are working with. What they give us is the ability to build products on top of this balance sheet, being able to be flexible and building multiple variations of new types of products.
Okay. Now this idea of personalizing travel insurance, when is the best time to drop it into the funnel, would you say?
In terms of customer journey?
Yeah.
Actually, the answer is that I don't think that there's a best place. I think there's a different space for each one. The beauty about the system is that we basically say you don't need to decide what's the best offering or what's the best place or when is the best time to offer to the consumer the products. You need to constantly try. And it might be that a consumer that is traveling from Germany behaves differently than a consumer that is traveling from Miami. And each one will have a different pace. One might be more suspicious in insurance and therefore it's better to close the transaction of the flight purchase. The other one might be more receptive and actually won't be opening his wallet after going at checkout. So the idea that we have in mind is you don't need to do any decision. you constantly test, you constantly try multiple variations,
Okay.
and it will be a different answer for you and for me because we are different.
Okay, so it wouldn't necessarily matter at a particular stage of the funnel.
No, we basically today with our customers, we have touch points before checkout, after landing page checkout, in a post-sale
Email
buy
or
area,
something,
and
yeah.
emails. And each one, by the way, has a different behavior, a different conversion rates. It's quite interesting.
Okay.
By the way, another thing to think about is not only about where, is it about the when, right? So it might be different if you're doing it a day, if you're getting a proposal during the purchase, after the purchase, 1 week after the purchase, 1 day before you're traveling.
Sure.
Each time might have a different concern that might occur for that.
Okay, so let's say that you're in the risk business in terms of consumers and insurance. What are your own business risks, would you say? What are your greatest challenges right now?
I think that we have a few challenges. One of them being the fact that the world is still dominated by the big
Sure.
insurance companies. Many times it's quite hard to penetrate online businesses like online travel agents, airlines, etc., where they have an existing relationship. We are trying to tackle it by sometimes cooperating with the insurance companies at legacy, and sometimes trying to see if we are able to complement without disturbing them in this sense, or not breaking their exclusivity or whatever relationship that they have over there.
So you, I think, said that you plan to expand to the US, I think next year. Is that still on the cards? And what other kind of goals have you got for the coming year?
So basically, 2020 is the year that we start in the US. My guess is that by the mid of next year, we'll start operating here. We are now in progress of building that.
Is it very different here, say, to Europe?
Yeah, something interesting about insurance. Every place is different than the other, okay? You'll be amazed that even in the EU, there's a difference between France and Germany,
Sure.
etc.
Like payments, I guess.
Like payments, exactly. It's a very regulatory issue, and each regulator has its own interpretation. The US has its own complexities, mainly because it's a very large country, and each state has its own type of regulator.
Yeah.
And doing that requires a bit of sophistication. It's going to be harder for us. In the EU, what we basically do, we have a license in the UK, and we have a license in mainland Europe for the Brexit. And basically this license that we have in mainland Europe, in France actually, we passport throughout the EU. In the US, we will probably need to do a bit more deep dive to each one of the countries. However, regulation anyways is a problem. Every place that we go, we need to understand what's the needs of their specific regulator.
Okay. So final thing before we wrap up, you recently announced a partnership with lastminute.com group. If you could have any kind of travel company out there, which one would it be? What would be your aspiration?
Meaning as giving them a solution.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a few that I'm really, I would really love to be. Kiwi, I think they're an amazing player. eDreams, I think, an amazing players. There are a few airlines that we spotted that we are trying to go into.
And why those as opposed to others, would you say?
Innovative.
Right. You think they move quicker and do more stuff, try stuff?
I think so, yes. We are basically, we need to go to places that have very keen for doing extra ancillary money and ability to act fast.
Okay.
I think these are players that are working that way, and I hope one day,
cool.
touch wood, the next time we meet, maybe we'll have something.
All right, Noam, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for your time.